Sewing video. My name is Tara. If you haven't been here before, I make quite a few sewing videos on our channel, and Ellen makes more like business social media videos, and then sometimes we make fashion videos together. Quite a mixed bag, but today it's a sewing video from me. I am making a dress, which you can probably see from the title / thumbnail. It's actually for my grandma's funeral. She passed away on New Year's Day, and we were looking at all the photos of her like growing up and all these like amazing glamorous photos of her all dressed up in like the 50s, 60s, and we were talking about wearing like a green dress, and I just felt like I wanted to make one. So that's why I'm making this dress. A little bit sad, but it's kind of life. So I picked up this really cool like Shirred seersucker fabric from Spotlight that I'm gonna use. I put it together an inspiration board of a few images before I went and bought the fabric. I was kind of thinking like this kind of shirred gathered kind of dress, probably with a wider strap, because obviously it's funerals in a church. Don't want to be too bare or anything, but it's also really hot, it's summer, so something, you know, a little bit floaty would be nice. I am thinking instead of a dress, I might do a skirt and a top, and then I can wear them together or separately, so it will look like a dress, but it's not a dress. I've bought some pre-made bias binding to help with my channels, because last time I made a video about an Una dress that I made, and I had to hand press and cut all of the like strip channels for the elastic, so this time, you know, last minute as always, I want to minimize on time. And I also picked up a big pack of elastic. I drew some inspo images, kind of deciding like what kind of straps, how I wanted it to look, whether I wanted a tear or a frill or something. Decided to just go for like one piece of fabric for the skirt. I did some quick calculations. So I took my body measurements, and then I measured a dress that I already have that I quite like the length of, so got an idea of roughly how long I need to make the bodice and the skirt and ruffles and things. I only have 10 meters of binding, so I figured out I can go around the fabric 6.7 times, which means I can have 1 row on the skirt and 4 rows on the body, and I'll make the strap built in. I'll just do it so it's double-sided. So yeah, I'm basically cutting 4 rectangles the width of the fabric. And we'll see how it goes. I'm gonna start with the bodice, because then I feel like I'll be able to figure out how long the straps need to be. I've probably got extra length in the straps than I need. For the bodice, I'm cutting the whole width of the fabric, which is 1.5 times my bust. So there should be plenty of fabric to gather in. And then I liked the height of my other dress, which is 25 centimeters, so I've added 5 and 3 centimeters for a ruffle, and then 4 centimeters for the hems on each side. So yeah, so let's start, shall we? The fabric is going to be really easy to cut straight across, because as you can see, it's kind of got these built-in like shirred lines. This tiny little gingham print, which is really pretty. I ended up cutting them a little bit bigger than I'd planned, just to make the cuts line up with the end divider things, the shirring and the fabric. So they're both like a little bit wider, but it does mean that I've got a bit more room to play with as well. Using the selvage is also great because I don't have to overlock this now. I'm not really sure what ironing is going to be like for this fabric. It might flatten it, so I might have to like wet it after I'm finished sewing, but I'm just going to test it on this bit that I tested the seam. It's viscose and poly based, so I'm going to turn it on to like the lowest steam setting I can do. Usually you'd go lower for like a synthetic fabric, but I'm hoping the viscose makes it okay, but that is also why I'm testing it. Seems to be okay. I just realized I didn't check which way was the right way around, and now the seam is on the wrong side. So we're gonna be unpicking it. What about this one? Did I do this one right? Why am I like this? It took unpicking it twice to get it the right way. You can tell what my brain is like today. It took me twice unpicking it to get it right, but it's all ironed now, ready to hem the bodice. It's basically just a really big tube, and I'm gonna add elastic to it. And then I've also ironed the straps and cut it in half. So I've ironed it so that the seam is at the back and pressed open nicely. I'm just gonna sew some channels for elastic in it. I think I'm gonna start with one channel in the middle, but I kind of feel like I might end up doing 3. Just finish hemming the bodice tube. For the bottom edge, I just did a rolled hem, a nice rolled hem. For the top edge, I've folded it under a bit further, you can kind of see. So I've just folded it over a little bit and then done a big fold so that I can have a little bit of ruffle here, and I've done another row of stitching for the edge of the elastic, so you end up with this little tunnel here to thread the elastic through. So for the bottom row, I've left just a little gap here for threading the elastic in. For the strap, I've just done 2 rows of stitching. So it's going to be all gathered elastic on here. But I'm kind of tempted in some of the ideas I had at just 1 row, but I think I might do 3 rows. I might add elastic to the bodice first and kind of see how frilly this is before making any plans on this. So for my first piece of elastic, it's going to be around here. So I'm just going to, no, it's falling on the floor. Just going to roughly measure it. And then add a bit of overlap. It's always easier to tighten it, so not really firm. And then I'm going to attach my handy dandy safety pin. And thread that through the hole I've got here. I put my safety pin too close to the edge of the elastic, so it ripped off halfway through. So I've just done that to make it a bit more secure. And I also remember a trick I saw on Instagram from a sewist I follow where she draws on pen so you know which side's the same way around, so that you don't end up with twisted elastic. So I'm just going to draw 2 dots on the matching sides of the elastic. So now when I pull it through, I know that these sides are the same side and the blank side's the same side. So then you don't get that annoying twisted elastic through them. And then I'm gonna start again. Got to the other side this time. Just gonna overlap the elastic a bit and pin it together. Even it out a bit. Okay. Let's try it on. For some reason this looks big. Okay. This definitely can take a bit of elastic out of here. So I'm just gonna pull on the elastic. I think that's feeling a bit better. The ruffle looks pretty cute. So then I think my plan is to add more elastic. I think I'll do one under the bust and then maybe like a couple more, maybe 3 rows. See how I go. I think I'll move on to the straps now. And I do really like the height of this ruffle. So I think I might add 3 rows of elastic to this. So it'll just go like that. I'm just gonna secure the elastic with a zigzag stitch. Like so. Usually I'd trim and like pull it through, but I'm kind of nervous to cut it off. This is experimental. So I've just finished stitching all of my areas here. So there's one in the middle for elastic, one there for elastic, and one there for elastic. And the strap on. There's a lot of fabric. I'm just gonna pin it to the back. Feels pretty good. I think I'm just gonna pin it for now. Add the 2 other rows of elastic and then kind of see how it's looking before I commit to anything. It is quite full in the ruffle, so potentially I might like to take out a little bit of length of this fabric, but we'll see, we'll see. It's looking pretty cool. But I have to go to dinner now, so we will resume when I get back. Next day. This is the progress I made last night. I just need to attach the straps because they're just pinned on at the moment. This is what it looks like. It's like quite a lot of ruffle, but we're rolling with it. Could, if I run out of time, just wear it like this with a skirt as well, which is kind of handy. I have encountered another problem. The thread is starting to run out. It does mean I will have to go to Spotlight soon. I'm hoping I can get the straps and then like most of the skirt started. Because Spotlight doesn't open till 9, it's currently 8. So I've just secured the elastic now that I know that it's the right length of the stitch. Can trim it now. And this end has the selvage, so I'm just going to like sew it straight onto the inside. One side of the straps has an exposed edge, so I'm just going to zigzag it so I don't have to get out my overlocker. So I've just stitched shut that opening I had for the end of the elastic. I marked with pins where the straps are going. Pin them on from the front side. The straps are going around the right way because I've definitely done that before. And I think I might just try it on to like triple check before I sew it into place. I've had things go wrong. They kind of look slightly different lengths. It's probably quite hard to see, but I just sewed the strap through the stitching lines I already had for the elastic. And I didn't turn up the side or anything because it is quite bulky, so minimize on the bulk. Though I didn't catch this corner, so I think I'll just need to check I've pinned the other ones far down enough, but it's still pretty secure. Cute. secured the goods. I bought 2 because I was scared that I'd run out again and I didn't want to go back to Spotlight. So I'm gonna sew the skirt now. It's 9:30. Funeral is at 1. So we'll see how much I can get done. Stop calling, Nathan! Sewing the side seams. That's a big skirt. And on one of them I stopped part way because I did have an inspo pick with a bit of a split on it. So I thought I'll try like the waistband and then see how I feel about the split. I can easily just sew it up if it just looks weird or inappropriate. I'm gonna start with folding this over and making a little ruffle and channel like I did for the top. So I did like 3 squares and then matched it to the next line. So I'm just gonna sew that all the way around the top and then we're gonna put some elastic in it. This is over 2 times my waist, so it might be a bit extreme, so I might have to like angle some out of the side instead of doing a straight side seam, but I'll see how this goes first. This is a lot of fabric. Oh no. Alright, I feel like I don't have time to take fabric out of the skirt, so I'm going to jump straight into adding a second row of elastic, and hopefully that will firm up the waist a little bit as well because it's quite soft at the moment. So this is where I had gotten it to. I ended up going to the funeral without it hemmed. You can see it's just raw, so I need to turn over that edge and stitch it and do the hem, but I feel like not that many people noticed. They weren't looking at me. I ran out of time to add like extra layers of elastic. It was quite time consuming sewing the binding. I also didn't finish sewing the end of this. I just need to like sew them together and trim it. But it's on the inside so no one can see. Originally I did want to do like elastic in the top, but actually I ended up wearing it to like our after thing just with the top part. Which I feel like makes it really wearable. You can wear it in so many different ways. So I'm kind of thinking I'll leave this one. I'm also tempted to add like a 3rd row of elastic to here, but I'm not sure if it's too much. Decisions. This is a really weird angle because I had to plug in the camera to charge because someone forgot to charge the camera. It's the end of the working week now and I'm finally feeling ready to tackle this a bit more again. I did a poll on my Instagram kind of about where I should take it next. I was feeling indecisive and the poll kind of helped in that everyone evenly split their votes, so that wasn't helpful. But it kind of, just doing it made me decide what I wanted to do anyway. So for the skirt, I was asking if I should add another row of elastic, and I think I'm going to. I'm gonna add it between the current rows of elastic. I felt like my torso was too short to wear it with 3 rows, but then I noticed it was kind of collapsing between these 2 rows, so I'm gonna add elastic there. And I was also feeling like it was just too much fabric. I was being lazy and didn't want to overlock anything, so I did it the width of the fabric. But I realized I probably don't need it the width of the fabric. That was more than 2 times my hips in measurement, which is way more than usual like flared skirts would be. and that means it was like heaps of times my waist, so it was adding quite a lot of bulk at my waist. So I thought, you know, like, do it properly, Tara. I'm gonna take off jelly beans on my desk and like jiggling the camera that's balanced. So I calculated to make it 2 times my hip, I needed to take about 80 centimeters out. So I measured that and then undid the elastic, which I was showing before, and kind of unpicked some of the holes further along. For now, I've just safety pinned it in place. So I'm gonna try it on with less fabric. I've also pinned down the length, so I'll get a good idea of what this is gonna look like. Okay, you can't see that much. I've got the excess fabric at the back, but as you can see, it's still quite full. I'm pretty happy with that, and it's looking a bit less bulky around my waist, which I kind of want to emphasize. So I just realized how revealing this was, but you can kind of see on the side how it's like collapsing here and you're getting like a little bit of bubbling. So I think that's where I'll add the elastic now that I've confirmed that I'm happy with this much fabric being in my body. I'm going to sew that side seam and trim the edge off. So yeah, I think I'll undo all the elastic and add a channel in the middle, now that I know how wide I want my skirt to be. I think that's easier than trying to like stretch it out and sew it. Air dried my hair last night. Looks kind of crazy wavy. I just finished adding this new row of binding, and my hands have got cramped now because pulling it apart, like pulling this elastic so that it was flat to sew, was a bit more hand muscle intensive than I was expecting, but we did it. I've just got to add the elastic and finish the hem on this guy now, and the skirt's done. That's exciting. We're through. Just gotta make sure I've got enough elastic in there. I just want to make sure the elastic's tight enough so that it doesn't like bulge out in the center.